The salvage boat drifted near the broken edge of the station, its engines low and quiet, like a sleeping animal. The stars around it looked sharp and cold. Far away, traffic lanes glowed, but here there was only debris, silence, and danger. The human captain stood alone on the open loading ramp. His name was Elias Ward. He wore a worn jacket and heavy boots, his face tired but calm. He had worked this part of space for years. He followed 3 rules: take only metal, trust no one, and never carry passengers. Passengers brought trouble. The station had been dead for decades. It was once an alien trade post, destroyed during an old border war. Most scavengers avoided it because strange signals still echoed inside. But Elias did not fear old ghosts. He feared living ones. He turned to leave when he heard a sound. It was soft, not metal, not wind. A voice. Please, wait. Elias froze. His hand moved slowly toward the stun pistol at his belt. He scanned the shadows near the broken docking arm. From behind a twisted beam, a figure stepped forward. She was not human. She was small, thin, and shaking. Her skin was pale blue, marked with dark lines that looked like natural patterns. Her eyes were large and silver, full of fear. One of her arms was bleeding. Her clothes were torn, not armor, not uniform, just simple fabric. She raised her hands to show she carried no weapon. Please, she said again, her voice weak but clear. Take me with you. Elias felt his chest tighten. Every instinct told him to back away, seal the ramp, and leave. Alien refugees were hunted goods. Some were worth more than ships. I don't take people, he said flatly.
Go to the main lanes. Someone else will help you.
She shook her head fast. No time. They are coming.
As if space itself heard her words. Distant lights flickered. 3 ships dropped out of jump space far too close. Their hulls were sharp and dark, marked with the symbol of a known raider clan. Elias cursed under his breath. The girl looked at him with pure panic. Take me on your boat, and I'll give you something no woman can give you. The words sounded strange, but there was no playfulness in them. Only desperation. Elias stared at her. I don't want anything. You don't understand, she said. They will take me. If they do, many will suffer. Please. The raider ships moved closer, weapons charging. A warning pulse washed over the station wreck. Elias had seconds. He looked at the girl again. She was hurt. She was scared. And she was telling the truth. He swore softly and stepped back. Get inside. Now. Her eyes widened. She did not hesitate. She ran, nearly falling as she crossed the ramp. Elias slammed the control panel. The ramp sealed. The ship's engines roared to life. Blaster fire struck the hull as the boat pulled free. Alarms screamed, but the shields held. Hold on, Elias said, throwing the ship into a wild turn. The raiders followed, firing again and again. Elias pushed the engines harder than he ever had. Warning lights flashed red. Come on! Come on, he muttered. At the last possible moment, he hit the jump drive. Space twisted. The stars stretched into lines. Then, everything went silent. The ship dropped out of jump space, far from any charted path. Elias leaned back, breathing hard. His hands shook. He turned slowly toward the cargo area. The alien girl had collapsed to her knees. She was breathing fast, her face pale. Hey, Elias said, moving closer. Stay awake. I'm fine, she whispered. Thank you. He scanned her with a med device. You're not fine, you're injured and exhausted. Sit. He guided her to a crate and gave her a basic med patch. She winced but stayed still. What's your name? He asked. She hesitated. My name is Lyra. Well, Lyra? Aaliyah said, keeping his tone careful. You almost got us both killed. I know, she said softly. I am sorry. He crossed his arms.
Why were they after you? She looked away. For a long moment, she said nothing.
Elias sighed. You don't have to tell me everything. But I need something. Truth. Enough to know if I made a mistake. Lyra closed her eyes.
My people are called the Vireli.
We are not strong. We do not rule worlds. But we have something rare. Elias waited. We can form deep bonds, she continued. Not emotional, not physical, purposeful. When we choose someone, we share clarity, direction. Survival knowledge. It makes groups stronger. Harder to break.
Elias frowned.
Sounds like a myth. It is real, she said. That is why we are hunted, used, sold. He felt anger rise in his chest. And what does that have to do with me? She looked at him then, really looked. I chose you. He laughed once, sharp and tired. You don't even know me. I know enough, she replied.
You could have left. You didn't.
Elias looked away.
You said you'd give me something no woman can give.
She nodded slowly.
I did not mean desire.
I meant purpose. The word hung in the air. Elias did not answer. He had lived alone for too long to trust words like that. He walked to the cockpit. You can stay until we reach a safe port. After that, we part ways. Lyra nodded. That is more than I hoped for. Hours passed. The ship cruised silently. Elias ran scans, unadjusted course. Suddenly, alarms chimed. Unidentified signal detected, the system said. Elias's heart dropped. Already? Lyra appeared beside him, holding the wall for support. They are persistent. He checked the display. A faint trace. Long-range tracking. Advanced. They marked you, he said. Yes, she admitted. I tried to remove it. I failed. Elias exhaled slowly. Trouble followed her like a shadow. He turned to her. Listen carefully. If I keep running, this won't end.
If I turn you in, I might survive.
Lyra's shoulders sagged. I know. Silence filled the cockpit. Elias stared at the stars. He remembered why he left Earth. Wars, orders, people used and thrown away. He made a decision. No one owns another person, he said quietly. Lyra looked up, surprised. I don't know what your gift really is, he continued. But no one deserves chains. Tears formed in her eyes. Thank you. The signal grew stronger. Elias tightened his grip on the controls. Get some rest. Things are about to get worse. As she walked away, Lyra paused. Elias? Yeah? You saved more than one life today. He did not answer. Outside, unseen eyes followed the human ship through the dark. And far away, forces older and stronger than Elias Ward began to take notice. The galaxy had just made a mistake, and humanity was about to surprise it. The ship moved quietly through deep space, far from the main routes. The stars outside looked calm, but inside the salvage boat, tension stayed heavy in the air. Elias did not sleep. He sat in the cockpit, eyes on the scanners, hands resting near the controls. The tracking signal was still there, weak, distant, but alive. Like a predator following a blood trail. Behind him, the cargo lights flickered softly. Lyra lay on a small resting pad near the medical bay. The med patch had slowed the bleeding, but her body was still weak. Her breathing was steady now, deeper than before. Elias glanced back at her and frowned. He did not like this feeling. Caring led to mistakes. Mistakes got people killed. Still, he stood and walked toward her. She sensed him before he spoke. Her eyes opened slowly. "You should rest," Elias said. "I am resting," Lyra replied. "But my mind is busy." "Yeah," he muttered. "Mine too." He leaned against a crate. "We need to talk." She nodded. "I expected that." He crossed his arms. "You said your people can give purpose, clarity, survival knowledge. That sounds big." "Too big. Why hasn't the galaxy already used it to change everything?" Lyra took a breath. "Because it comes with rules." "Rules?" Elias raised an eyebrow. "Yes," she said. "The bond only works when chosen freely. No force. No fear. If my kind is controlled, the bond breaks or becomes dangerous." "Dangerous how?" She looked away. "It destroys both sides." Elias whistled softly. "That explains the chains." "Yes," she said. "The galaxy does not like gifts it cannot control." Silence followed. Elias stared at the floor. "So why me?" Lyra turned her head toward him. "Because you did not see me as an object," he scoffed. "That's a low standard. For the galaxy," she said quietly, "it is rare." That sat heavy in his chest. The ship's system chimed suddenly. "Long-range transmission detected." Elias rushed back to the cockpit. The signal was encrypted, but crude.
"They're close," he said.
Lyra stood slowly, gripping the wall. "They will not stop." Elias clenched his jaw. "I don't plan to keep running forever." He opened a star map. "There's an old relay station nearby, dead. Shielded. If we cut power and hide, we might confuse their scan. They will still search," Lyra warned.
"Let them," Elias replied. "I want to see how bad they want you." The ship changed course.
Hours later, the relay station appeared, a dark wheel floating near a gas cloud. Its surface was scarred, but its shadow was deep. Elias powered down most systems and drifted inside the shadow. Silence fell.
Minutes passed, then scanners lit up. 3 ships. Raider class. Same markings. They found us, Elias said calmly.
Lyra's hands trembled. "I am sorry." He looked at her. "Not your fault." The raiders spread out, scanning slowly. Elias smiled grimly. "They think I'm hiding." He powered engines suddenly and burst out of the shadow, blasting toward the gas cloud. The raiders reacted too late. Elias flew straight into the cloud. Sensors screamed. Visibility dropped to nothing. "Are you insane?" Lyra cried. "Maybe," he said. "But humans are good at chaos." Inside the cloud, Elias cut engines, rotated the ship, and fired decoy pods in multiple directions. The raiders chased the false signals. Elias waited. Then, he slipped out silently in the opposite direction. Minutes passed. No pursuit. Lyra stared at him in disbelief. "You survived," he shrugged. "Barely." She looked at him differently now. With curiosity. Respect. They drifted again, safe for the moment. Later, as systems stabilized, Lyra approached him. "Elias," she said, "I must tell you something important." He nodded. "Go on." "My people believed humans would reject the bond," she said. "Your minds are intense, individual. Emotional. Sounds about right," he said dryly. "But when I sensed you," she continued, "I felt something else. Balance. Restraint." Elias frowned. "You sensed me?" "Yes, before I begged you." "That is why I chose you." He did not like that. "You were reading me without permission?" "No," she said quickly. "Not reading. feeling like heat from a fire. He exhaled, still not great. I know, she said softly.
But listen, the bond does not control.
It aligns. It sharpens what already exists. Elias stayed quiet. If you accept it, she said, you will not lose yourself. And if I don't, she lowered her head,
then I will leave at the nearest safe place.
He studied her face.
No threat.
No pressure. Just honesty.
Why does it matter so much? He asked.
Because if the galaxy learns humans can bond safely, she said, everything changes.
He laughed bitterly.
That sounds like a terrible idea. Yes, she agreed. For them. The tracking signal flickered again.
They're adapting, Elias said. Smart. They always do, Lyra replied.
Elias paced. We can't outrun them forever. There is another option, she said quietly. He stopped. Which is? I activate the bond, she said. Partially. Enough to mask the signal. Enough to strengthen your mind against their tech. Elias stared at her. And the cost? For me? She said. Pain. Risk. For me? She met his eyes. Change. He rubbed his face. He hated this. Choices like this never ended clean.
What if it goes wrong?
He asked. The ship shook suddenly. A hit. Light weapons. They're here, Elias said. Decision time. Lyra stepped closer. I will not force you. He looked at the controls. The alarms. The stars shaking outside. Then he looked at her. Do it, he said. She nodded. Lyra placed her hand lightly against his chest. Not intimate. Steady. She closed her eyes. At first, nothing happened. Then Elias felt it. Not voices, not images. Clarity. Fear faded. Noise inside his mind went quiet. He saw paths, options, probabilities. The pain came next, sharp but brief. Lyra gasped and fell to her knees. Elias caught her. The ship's alarm stopped. The tracking signal vanished. Outside, the raider ships drifted, confused. They lost us, Elias whispered. Lyra smiled weakly. Yes? He helped her sit. You okay? He asked. I will recover, she said. You! He searched himself. He felt Buck, focused, calm, stronger.
I'm still me,
he said slowly.
Yes, she replied, more clearly than before. The raiders eventually left.
Silence returned. Elias looked out at the stars. You know, he said, if humans get this, the galaxy won't forgive you.
Lyra smiled sadly. They already won't, he nodded.
Far away, data echoes spread. Strange failures. Lost signals. Someone was watching. And for the first time in a long time, the galaxy felt uneasy because a human mind had just adapted to a gift never meant for it. And it worked. The change did not fade. Hours passed after the raiders left, and Elias waited for the strange clarity to weaken. It did not. His thoughts stayed sharp, calm, and organized. Fear still existed, but it no longer ruled him. It stood to the side, quiet, useful. He did not tell Lyra this right away. She rested in the medical bay, her skin duller than before, breathing slow but steady. The bond had taken something from her. Elias could feel that truth. Even without words, the ship moved again, engines low. Elias guided it toward an unregistered system, one few ships ever visited, not because it was empty, but because it was dangerous. Asteroids filled the space like a broken wall. Radiation storms flickered between them. Old wrecks floated silently, reminders of bad choices. Normally, Elias would never fly here. Now, he saw paths, tiny gaps, safe currents, hidden shadows. The ship slipped through the field like it belonged there. Lyra woke suddenly, sitting upright. "We are in the grave belt," she said. "Yes," Elias replied from the cockpit. She stared at the display. "No one survives long here." Elias adjusted the course slightly. "Most don't look hard enough." She watched him work, her eyes slowly widening. "You can see it," she whispered. "The paths." He nodded.
Feels like the universe is talking less. Makes room for thinking.
A mix of pride and worry crossed her face. This is why they feared humans. Elias did not answer. He focused on flying. They reached the center of the belt hours later. There, hidden among massive rocks, was an old human outpost, abandoned, power low, but intact. Elias docked carefully. Inside, dust covered the halls. Old symbols marked the walls. This place had been built during humanity's first deep space expansion, then forgotten. They sealed the ship and stepped inside.
"This will hide us," Elias said, "for a while." Lyra leaned against a wall, weak.
"You should contact your people." He hesitated. "And tell them what? That an alien bond changed my mind?" "Yes," she said, "before others twist the story." Elias considered it. The clarity helped, but fear still existed. Governments reacted badly to unknowns. "We wait," he said finally. "Just a little?" That little did not last long. The bond stirred again. Elias felt it like a warning in his chest. "Something's wrong," he said. The outpost's old sensors flickered to life on their own. Data streamed across the screens. Multiple jump signatures. Not raiders. Warships. Lyra's face drained of color. The Council fleets. Elias swore softly.
They moved fast. The ships formed a wide net around the asteroid field.
Heavy. Organized. No panic.
"No rush. They're not here to chase," Elias said.
"They're here to erase." Lyra nodded slowly. "They will not allow proof to exist." The bond sharpened again. Elias saw it clearly now. If they stayed hidden, the fleet would sweep the belt piece by piece. If they ran, they would be cornered. One option remained.
Broadcast, Ilias said. Lyra stared at him.
"They will trace it." "Yes," he replied. "But others will hear it too." He powered the outpost's old transmitter, boosting it with the ship's systems. "What will you say?" Lyra asked. "The truth," he answered. The message went out on open channels. Simple, clear, human-coded.
This is Elias Ward, civilian salvage pilot.
I am alive. I have proof that certain alien powers are hunting refugees and erasing evidence. I am requesting asylum and observation, not rescue. If I do not survive, record this message. Lyra watched silently. Before he could send more, the station shook. "They found us!" she said. Elias pulled up the tactical view. Fighters launched from the warships, fast and deadly. He smiled, faintly. "Good." "He undocked the salvage ship. What are you doing?" Lyra asked. "Showing them something new." The ship flew straight into the asteroid field. The fighters followed. Elias flew differently now. He did not dodge randomly. He moved with purpose, weaving through rocks with impossible precision. The fighters crashed one by one. The bond guided him, not controlling his hands but clearing the noise. The Council ships adjusted tactics. They released drones, hundreds of them. Elias changed course again, heading toward a radiation storm.
That will kill us, Lyra warned. Not if we think faster,
he replied. As they entered the storm, Elias shut down all non-essential systems. He let the radiation wash over the hull, masking their signature. The drones lost. Some burned out. The ship emerged on the other side, damaged but alive. Lyra stared at him in awe.
No one flies like this.
Elias shook his head.
Humans adapt. The Council fleet regrouped.
Their commander sent a message. Human vessel, power down.
The alien is property of the Council. Surrender, and you may live. Elias opened the channel. No, he said. The response came cold.
Then you will be removed.
Elias closed the channel. He looked at Lyra. You okay? She smiled weakly. I chose, well... The fleet fired. The salvage ship's shields flared and failed. Elias felt pain as systems overloaded. But his mind stayed clear. He saw one last path. A wrecked Council cruiser floated nearby, torn open from an old battle. He aimed for it. The ship crashed into the wreck, locking itself inside the hollowed hull. The Council fleet stopped firing. They surrounded the wreck.
Boarding teams launched. They will come inside, Lyra said.
Elias nodded.
Then we make a stand.
He armed what little weapons he had, old rifles, tools, traps. As footsteps echoed through the wreck, Elias felt something new. Not commands, not orders. Trust. Lyra stood beside him. The bond is deepening. He met her eyes.
You don't have to stay. I will, she said. Whatever happens. The first soldiers entered, tall, armored, confident.
They were not prepared. Elias moved with precision. Not faster than before, but smarter. He used gravity shifts, narrow halls, broken floors. Lyra guided him silently, sensing patterns, warning him seconds before danger. The boarding teams fell back. Outside, the fleet hesitated. Data from the fight spread. Recordings, analysis. A human, bonded and stable. That was not supposed to exist. A new message arrived. This one, cautious. Human Elias Ward. Stand down. Negotiation is possible. Elias laughed softly. Too late. He sent one last broadcast, this time to every channel. Humans are compatible. The bond does not break us. It strengthens choice, not control. If you come for us, know this. We will adapt. Silence followed. The Council fleet withdrew slowly, unwilling to escalate further. Elias leaned against the wall, exhausted. Lyra touched his arm. You just changed the balance of the galaxy. He shook his head. No.
We just reminded it. Outside signals raced ahead of the fleet.
Warnings. Fear. For the first time in centuries, the powerful did not sleep easily, because humanity had stepped into the light. And it did not bow. The silence after the Council fleet withdrew felt heavier than the battle itself. Elias stayed still for a long time, listening to the low hum of the damaged ship and the distant creaks of the wreck around them. His body ached. His hands were bruised. But his mind stayed clear, steady, focused. Lyra sat beside him on the cold metal floor. Her breathing was shallow, her face tired. The bond had carried them through the fight, but it had taken its toll. They will not forget this, she said softly. Elias nodded. Neither will we. They returned to the salvage ship, slowly, carefully. Systems were damaged, but not beyond repair. Elias worked without rest, sealing hull cracks, rerouting power, stabilizing the engines. Lyra helped where she could, handing tools, watching sensors, warning him before small failures became large ones. They moved like they had worked together for years. That frightened Elias more than the Council fleet. Hours later, the ship drifted free of the wreck and powered down near a quiet asteroid. Elias finally sat back and closed his eyes for a moment. That was when the messages started coming in. At first, they were distant echoes, weak signals bouncing through old relays. Then, clearer ones. Human voices. Civilian channels. Military channels. Research groups. Independent pilots. They had heard the broadcast. Elias watched the incoming data scroll across the screen.
Requests for confirmation. For proof.
For explanation. And warnings. "They are moving," Lyra said, sensing his tension. "Not just the Council." Elias pulled up a wide scan. Multiple fleets. Different species. Some curious. Some afraid. Some angry. "They're all coming," he said. "Yes," Lyra replied. "Because humans were never meant to fit." Elias gave a tired smile. "We've been hearing that for centuries." One message cut through the noise. A secure human military frequency. Old, but trusted.
Elias Ward, this is Earth Defense Command.
"If this is truly you, respond." Elias stared at the screen. "I left them," he said quietly. "I didn't want their wars." Lyra looked at him.
"This is not their war. Not yet."
He hesitated, then opened the channel. "This is Elias Ward," he said. "I'm alive." The response was instant. Relief. Confusion. Urgency. "We received your broadcast," the voice said. "We are dispatching a reconnaissance group. Not armed for conflict. We want to observe."
Elias closed his eyes briefly. "They won't let you come peacefully."
"We know," the voice replied.
"But we need to see it with our own eyes." The channel closed. Lyra exhaled slowly.
"Now your people are involved. They always were," Elias said. The next days passed in constant motion. Elias guided the ship deeper into uncharted space, staying mobile, unpredictable. The bond helped him read patterns in the movements around them. Fleets tested boundaries. Scouts watched from a distance. No one attacked. Then the Council made its move. A system went dark. A small, neutral trade hub vanished in a flash of light. No survivors. No warning. A message followed, broadcast openly. "Human involvement will destabilize galactic balance. Further cooperation will be punished."
Elias slammed his fist against the console. "They're making examples!" Lyra's voice trembled.
"They always do." Another message arrived. This one private, from a different alien faction. Older, quieter. "We wish to speak. We fear what is coming." Elias looked at Lyra. "Thoughts?" she considered. "Some fear humans because you adapt. Others fear the Council more." "Then we listen," Elias said. "Carefully." The meeting took place in deep space. No planets. No stations. Just ships, far apart. Holograms flickered to life. Tall figures, scaled ones. Beings of light and metal. Elias stood alone on his deck. Lyra stood slightly behind him, visible but calm. The first speaker's voice was slow and heavy. "Human, you are disruptive." Elias met its gaze. So was fire. Murmurs rippled through the connection. Another speaker leaned forward. "The bond you carry was never meant for your kind." Lyra stepped forward. "It was never meant to be owned." Silence followed. "We see stability in you," the first speaker said at last. "That is unexpected." Elias kept his tone steady. We didn't break it. We respected it. That changed something. The meeting ended without agreement, but without threats. As the holograms faded, Lyra sagged slightly. Elias caught her arm. The bond is stretching, she said quietly. Not breaking, just growing. Elias guided her to a seat. You should rest. I can't, she replied. Too many minds touching the edge. He felt it too now. Not voices. Pressure. Attention! Human ships appeared on the scanners soon after. Small. Careful. Defensive. Earth had sent them. They stayed at a distance, weapons cold. Elias opened a channel. You don't have to do this, he said. If they attack you, they already consider us compromised, the human commander replied. We won't leave you alone out here. Elias laughed softly. Figures. The council fleet arrived hours later, larger than before, more aggressive. They broadcast once. This ends now. Elias felt the bond pulse. Stronger. Wider, he realized something then. The bond was no longer just between him and Lyra. It was resonating outward. Humans nearby felt it. Not control. Not commands. Clarity. Unity. Earth ships adjusted formation without orders. Pilots moved with shared understanding. The council noticed. They fired. Space exploded into light and fire. The battle was chaos. But different. Human ships did not rush. They did not panic. They adapted. Covered each other. Fell back when needed. They fought like one mind made of many wills. The council fleet was stronger, but rigid. They began to lose ships. Lyra cried out and fell to her knees. Elias rushed to her side. It's too much, she gasped. I can't hold it. Elias understood. He made a choice. He opened a wide broadcast to the human ships. If you feel it, he said, voice strained, don't resist. Don't push. Just damp. Align. The response was not words. It was action. Human pilots eased into the flow. The bond stabilized, spreading the strain. Lyra's breathing eased. The battle turned. Not into a massacre, but into a message. The council fleet retreated again, leaving wrecks and confusion behind. Silence followed. Elias stood in the quiet, shaking. Lyra looked up at him, eyes bright with tears. You shared it. He nodded. It was never meant to be carried alone. Far away, messages spread faster than ships. Humans were not conquerors. They were connectors. The galaxy watched in fear and wonder. Because the mistake was now clear. They had tried to control something that grew stronger when trusted, and humanity was learning exactly what it could become. Together, the station hummed with quiet efficiency the morning after the pirate attack. Smoke had cleared, alarms were silenced, and the last of the injured were treated. Pestrel 9 looked the same from the outside, but inside, everything had shifted. People moved differently. Aliens glanced at humans with a new sense of respect. And Zira herself was changed. She walked through the corridors, observing crews inspecting walls, doors, and equipment. Her eyes were sharp, her skin a calm neutral, but she felt an unfamiliar weight of thought pressing against her mind. Humans were more than she had expected, more than she had imagined. Their endurance, their stubbornness, and the strange pride with which they accepted pain. All of it demanded attention. She paused outside the mess hall. The smell of fresh meals greeted her, a mix of alien protein gels and Terran staples. Her gaze fell on a tray of sausages, preserved and glistening under the warm lights. She remembered the last time she had eaten. One. The burning, the humiliation, the sharp awareness of her own limitations. It had all been real. But now, it no longer felt like punishment. It felt like a lesson. Ethan Hale was already in the mess hall, seated at the same table as before, though his shoulder was bandaged and his movements careful. He smiled at her when she entered, a faint flicker of humor in his eyes. "Good morning," he said. "Feeling brave enough for breakfast?" Zira hesitated. Her pride urged her to decline, to maintain control. But curiosity and a strange sense of camaraderie nudged her forward. She sat across from him. The tray in front of her bore one sausage, just a small slice, an acknowledgement of her previous experience. "You don't have to," Ethan said, noticing her hesitation. "I know," she replied, "but I want to understand." Ethan nodded. Fair enough. He cut a small piece for her, careful, deliberate. "Just remember, it will be different this time." Jira lifted the piece and brought it to her mouth. She chewed, slowly, cautious, measuring every sensation. The warmth arrived almost immediately. But this time, it was not overwhelming. She could tolerate it. She could manage it. A small smile tugged at the corner of her mouth.
She swallowed. "It is, why call,
tolerable," she admitted. Ethan laughed softly.
"Told you. Humans are weird that way."
Pain is part of the experience, not the end of it. For a moment, the mess hall seemed suspended in calm. Crew members went about their meals, but Zira felt a quiet recognition settling over her. Humans embraced challenge, endured what others avoided, and even found joy in surviving the uncomfortable. It was a principle she had not fully understood until now. Hours later, Zira returned to engineering control. She reviewed the system's logs from the pirate attack, noting patterns of human endurance, how they moved under fire, ignored fatigue, and kept fighting despite injury. It was astonishing. Her species had trained for precision and caution, but humans had something different. Adaptability, born from constant struggle. Kelithas appeared at her side. "You seem different," he observed. His skin was flickering pale green, a sign of curiosity and slight awe. Zira glanced at him.
"Humans endure what we consider intolerable,
and yet they advance, survive, and even smile afterward." Kelithas tilted his head. "It is remarkable." "Remarkable," she repeated, thinking of Ethan, of the team, of the sausage, of the fire and chaos they had navigated. We underestimated them. Word of the pirate attack spread across the station. Reports praised human resilience. Aliens who had mocked human food or laughed at their casual endurance now watched quietly, taking notes. The legend of Ethan Hale, the logistics officer who had fought through pain, injury, and exhaustion, began to grow. Zira realized that respect was not the only consequence. Understanding humans meant seeing the galaxy differently. They were not just survivors. They were catalysts. Challenges that might have broken others only sharpened them. And those who had once doubted them now had a new lens through which to view every encounter.
The next weeks passed in a blur of repairs, recalibrations, and minor drills. Zira supervised engineering with renewed energy.
She adapted systems to account for human endurance patterns, optimizing corridors and control rooms so that humans could function even when others might falter. The concept of human factors became her private project, a study of strength, adaptability, and the will to persist. Ethan recovered fully, returning to his logistics duties. But he was different, too. There was a quiet confidence in his step, a calm in his presence. The station had challenged him, and he had emerged as a symbol of the strange, enduring human spirit. One evening, as the station lights dimmed to a soft glow, Zira found herself back in the mess hall. Ethan had already eaten, leaving a single sausage on a clean tray. She picked it up, examining it carefully. The first time it had been a weapon against her pride. The second, a lesson in endurance. Now, it was a bridge. She took a bite, savoring the flavor. The warmth spread through her system, but she did not panic. She controlled it, adapted, endured. And with each chew, she felt a strange sense of connection to the species that had forced her to reconsider everything she thought she knew about strength. Ethan watched from across the table, a faint grin on his face. "Feeling better?" he asked. Zaria nodded. "Yes, I understand now." "Good," he said simply. "Humans like to share their lessons, but only if you're willing to learn." She smiled, faint but genuine. "I am willing." From that day forward, the dynamic on Kestrel 9 shifted. Aliens who had once mocked humans now consulted them. Humans were no longer just another species on the station. They were a standard of resilience, ingenuity, and courage. And Zira, who had once challenged a simple sausage and found herself humbled, became a bridge between worlds, a student of human endurance, and a chronicler of lessons learned in heat, chaos, and fire. Months later, when a small diplomatic fleet visited the station, reports of Kestrel 9's resilience preceded them. Stories of human persistence, courage under fire, and the strange power of their food spread through the colonies. Zira stood at the observation deck, watching the ships approach, reflecting on how a single meal, a moment of mockery, had transformed her understanding of humanity. Ethan joined her quietly, shoulder heeled, expression calm. "Thinking about our lesson?" he asked. Zira turned, eyes meeting his. "Yes. One bite taught me more about your species than 100 simulations." He chuckled. "Humans like lessons with a side of discomfort. And you endure them," she said, voice steady. "Without complaint?" He nodded. "We do, because that's what keeps us moving forward." She studied him, then looked out at the stars beyond the station. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers, challenges, and unknowns, and now she understood something crucial. Humans were not just part of that galaxy. They shaped it, endured it, and inspired it. A small smile crept onto her face as she picked up another piece of sausage. She chewed slowly, savoring the warmth, the flavor, and the lesson. The galaxy could be cruel, unpredictable, and painful. But humans had the strength to thrive. And she, Zira, had learned to respect, understand, and even rely on that strength. Ethan watched her quietly. "Not bad for your first full serving," he said. She laughed softly, a sound she had not made in a long time. Not bad at all. From that day forward, Kestrel 9 was not just a station. It was a testament to human resilience, a place where aliens learned respect, and a stage for the enduring spirit of a species that could turn pain into strength, mockery into understanding, and a simple meal into a lesson that echoed across the stars. Zira glanced at Ethan one last time before standing and walking toward the observation deck. Her mind was clear, her purpose renewed. The galaxy was wide, full of unknowns, and humans would meet them head-on. She had witnessed it. She had survived it. And now she would help others see it too. The sausage had been the beginning. The galaxy would never be the same. Humans, after all, endured. And they inspired those around them to endure as well. Kestrel 9 would stand, and humanity's reputation across the stars would grow. One bite, one battle, and one lesson at a time. Zira smiled. Not at the pain, not at the fire, not at the challenge, but at the humans beside her who faced it all and kept moving forward. The galaxy had underestimated them once. Never again. And somewhere deep in her mind she realized she would follow them, endure beside them, and learn from them, because humans had a way of turning even the harshest moments into triumphs. The stars were wide, but the human spirit was wider, and she had been given a front row seat.